Greetings, ladies and metalgents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series Accidentally Adopted. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Part 5, Chapter 7, Answered Prayers. Log 6,001.1.14, Personal, Captain Yormdraw. I had a last meeting with my officers, including Gregory and one of the officers from the Landers. I'm not a military man, but it seems to me the sergeant is kind of a commander, so his presence seemed appropriate to me. In any case, I laid out the plan for the bridge crew. In 5 hours, we'd be pulled into real space, and we would simulate a major engine and life support failure. Gregory suggested that we compress as much of our atmosphere as possible into our emergency replenishment tanks, as the cultists would likely cause a hull breach in the quarters deck to encourage a quick surrender. I agreed to doing this, as we'd have plenty of time to accomplish it. When it came to the actual fighting, Gregory called up a wireframe of the ship and pointed out 6 areas and made something of a speech. First, bridge crew. The corridor leading to the bridge offers very little cover to any attacking force, while giving you an excellent place to have 3 to 4 people putting a fire down range at any given time. It is highly unlikely that you will have to fight at all, but the equipment should be protected anyway. My people will focus on taking the bridge and engine room as strategic goals. More importantly, the skills of the bridge crew are irreplaceable. Only after the defense squad is overrun should you be at risk. He paused and gave each of us a stern look in turn, until every last one of us had signaled assent. Good. Keep your blood cool and trust your crew. Speaking of, defense squad will be broken up into teams of 4. Airlocks 1 through 6 will be held, while the counterboarding will proceed through airlocks 1, 3, and 5. My boys agreed, but they can keep your back clear. Burb, phonetically spelled with proper noun rooms. I don't like it, but you're going in blind. We know they're cultists. They worship this Lady of Pain, a great old one, but I suspect that I don't really get what that means. I don't care. They've hurt my people. They have some of us held hostage. We're taking them back if I have to climb in boarding torpedo and do it myself. Boarding torpedo? The sergeant asked. Gregory just smiled and said, I know the rumor has been floating around the squads. Yes, I was shot at a ship inside a torpedo once. The only reason I wasn't more is my job was about planets and not ships. I suspect that Jawman was trying to pry for further information, and I briefly considered informing him that there was very little that Gregory isn't prepared to discuss about his people and how they operate. Then I decided his clumsy attempts at subtlety was funny. Then I ordered all hands into vac suits, including the children. We weren't going to be caught off guard. I despised the feeling of an unplanned drop into real space. Unplanned so far as the ship systems was concerned anyway. We were expecting it. Gregory was correct. They opened by damaging the hull of the quarters deck. Nothing structural, but if we hadn't taken precautions, the decompression would have destroyed the viewport in the galley. Apparently, we put on a fairly convincing act of being crippled, and they fired their boarding harpoons almost immediately. It was worse clutching my weapons and watching for enemies down the corridor. Even on the away team, my nerves were never so frayed. More than once, I considered rallying the bridge crew to join the counter-orders and taking the fight to the cultists. However, I had given my word. The difference in feeling is startling. We just sat in the bridge and did void all while we trusted others to do the work. It was surprisingly difficult. At least when we were going to retrieve Yormdraw and destroy the criminal group, it felt like I was proactive. The aftermath. We're not really equipped to handle this, and the enemy ship isn't very suitable. I need to think over what to do. I heard that thing is full of horror. I'm loath to put her down, but the things they did to her, the things that they've done on her. Dear Diary, I'm surprised. It wasn't as scary as I thought. Sneaky had told us to be ready to get in our vac suits, so when Dad sounded the all hands to vac suits, everyone was ready. Then we followed his training. We got our weapons issued at the armory and gathered the littles in the weight room and made some barricades to take cover behind. We made sure to keep alert for any signs of anyone cutting through the walls, though. The hardest part was keeping the littles calm. On the one hand, you can't let them panic, and on the other, you can't let yourself get distracted in case the bad guys broke through. It was mostly up to us bigs and the adults not assigned to duties to, project a sense of confidence. I don't know if I really managed it. The thing that really helped was Joyve's unshakable faith that Sneaky would win. The fact that he was recently in danger and rescued by Greg kind of helped the other kids latch onto the idea that he knows how to fight the bad guys. I mean, it wasn't wrong, but I think I won't make a big deal out of it to Greg. He'd probably get all embarrassed. Anyways, it's unsettling to know that on the other side of my face shield is a vacuum, even if it looks pretty normal. I really hope that we don't have to do it again. If we do have to do it again, I'll try to be braver. Mission Log 1. Mission Boarding Action. Mission Objectives. Eliminate all hostiles. 60 hostiles eliminated. Objective complete. Rescue any surviving prisoners. 10 adults rescued, 3 in critical condition. 7 children rescued, minor injuries. Objective complete. Mission parameter. Maximize enemy casualties. No quarter asked or given. Rescue all prisoners still alive. Landers performed well in combat, some of whom are able to accurately deploy 2 weapons at once. Landers acted professionally, did not make rookie mistakes. Lever's flashbangs seemed underpowered, but are reusable. Journal entry 47, date 1/9/2. Name Greg George. Okay, so shipwrights have pretty okay point about their missions being pretty simple and fast. Still though, I'm not super pleased with how we had to go about things. Then again, the Wiesing is a cargo ship, not a cruiser or even a destroyer. Well, we do well enough with what we have. The armor was very helpful, especially our helmets. TACnet. Hell yeah for TACnet. Boo for command positions though. Boo command. I'm enlisted, goddammit. Anyway, Pops had us all meet to finalize the plan as we hurtled towards the cultists like a shell out of a howitzer. But that was fine, since the last minute is when you get the best intel, if there is any. Anyways, I wanted the landers in the loop, so I picked out Bob and made him the gunny since he seemed like the most senior NCO. Of course, there wasn't any new intel, but that's okay, since we had a pretty solid defense plan in case the enemy is stronger than we think. Well, there was a job to do and work needed done, as they say, and we had what we needed to do it with. We managed. We managed well, all things considered. It sucks, but had to focus on big picture developments, so I stayed behind and to direct things, which I didn't have to do much since the landers are competent. They have that breach and clear procedure down pat, and they had a couple specialists get me the specs of the ship as soon as they found a system readout. That made coordinating the whole deal way easier. And since the enemy ship was so much smaller, I was able to pull teams away from the untouched airlocks and leave just a couple of dudes each at them to keep an eye on them and reinforce the counterboarding. It was right move, since there was some cultists trying to sneak around and cut my landers off from behind, probably thinking that they were our entire force. My dudes made them into piles of broken carapace and ichor. In any case, I don't like the way the Spider Centaur people move, and the way that these cultist fighters were pretty stupid, even when compared to their mafia. Apart from that one attempted flanking move, they went with the wave of body strategy, and failed to notice that their weapons didn't even scuff our dude's armor. It was unsettling as feck to watch, though. Fecking scuttling. The state of the survivors, well, it's not very good. Not much on the injury front, except for 3 of the infirmary. Our EMT dudes say that they'll probably be okay. But it's still somewhat touch and go with them not dying. Fecking ritual torture. Glad we killed them fecking all. Glad they didn't even try to surrender. Feck them. From the memoir of Beastmaster Solvace. I got pulled out of Hyper by a bunch of religious nuts for the Lady of Pain. The idiots believed my venerations, and I was able to convince them that she had granted me a vision of her preferred sacrifice, namely the braided warmbloods. If the Queen won't bring back the age of the Corsairs, well, she's too weak to stop us anyways. I got a new slave out of it, small, female, supple. It is especially pleasant to make her beg for scraps to eat. Then again, she screams so beautifully when I push her past words. End of story. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters: Bushmaster117, Casper Arnholtz, Dragzoon W.R.E, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, John Carrington, and Sevaren Serberous. Thank you very much.